presents a world premiere motion picture from the creators of the hit comic book series, The X-Men, comes Generation X. They've got the power. They've got the technology. They're the new generation of superheroes. And they're coming to save the world.
You can't win.
I need some help out here, come on!
Get ready for Generation X on the Fox Tuesday night movie.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Generation X. The X-Men movie before X-Men movies were really a thing. A truly weird live-action adaptation of the comics run Generation X. Naturally, as a low-production TV movie from the 90s, it's probably not worth watching and should be left in the past. So naturally, I watched it. Hi, it's Eric. I haven't posted in a while. Like over a year. And what about it? You're not gonna beat my ass. I've actually watched Generation X before, around the time about 5 years ago when I first started getting into X-Men stuff. I was rapidly consuming as much X-Men content as I could. At the time, I was super charmed by the low-budget aesthetics and some of the themes that carried on into the X-Men cinematic universe as we know it today. Returning to it, it's somewhat less charming, but no less interesting. So I thought I'd talk about it, show it to you, so we can all see the ridiculousness, you can learn, and you don't have to sit and watch the whole hour and a half like I did. So before we dive in, here's some juicy backstory. Generation X is based on the comic series of the same name, Generation X. Gen X is a spin-off of the core X-Men comics, created by writer Scott Lobdell and artist Chris Bachalo. Generation X, which debuted in 1994, was created to be a version of New Mutants that would connect with teens of the 1990s. The series featured a team of Teen Mutants attending a Massachusetts sister school to Xavier's led by Emma Frost and Banshee. Generation X was a TV movie based on these comics. It was made to test the waters for potential TV series, so it functioned as both a TV movie and pilot episode. It aired on Fox as part of their Tuesday night movie segment in 1996. Generation X was directed by Jack Sholder. Sholder is best known for his work in the horror genre, such as The Nightmare on Elm Street 2. His horror background is made evident in some strange ways in this movie that we'll get into later. In an interview with Sci-Fi Wire, Sholder says that he wasn't really involved in pre-production and was hired after the script had been finished by a screenwriter named Eric Blakeney. Eric Blakeney has written award-winning episodes on shows such as Wise Guy and 21 Jump Street. However, his only film credit is the 2000 movie Gunshy, which has pretty bad reviews. According to Rotten Tomatoes, it's a dark comedy of the lowbrow nature, filled with fart and gay jokes. So, well, Sholder says that he wasn't very familiar with comic books in his adulthood, but was filled in on by the team. The budget for the movie was $4 million, about $6 million today, and tiny by any standards. It was also shot in 23 days. Most movies take months to shoot in their entirety. You might be asking, if you're not familiar with comic books history, why is this Marvel movie so low budget? I thought they were big. Marvel Comics was suffering a financial crisis in 1993, so they sold their rights for the X-Men to 20th Century Fox. Fox was impressed by the animated series' success and wanted to find live-action success with the property. X-Men 2000 started being worked on in earnest around 1994, but it seems Fox was interested in expanding into the TV market with an additional X-Men property, but they needed to test the waters first. This kind of low-budget superhero TV movie, throw something at the wall and see what works thing is kind of commonplace for the pre-XMCU MCU era. See Marvel's decades of attempts with Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., Howard the Duck, Doctor Strange, Captain America, and the Incredible Hulk. Look at him. You want me to brave those movies? Comment down below. So with this low budget came a number of changes. They wanted to include Chamber, who has an explosive lower chest and face, but the special effects for his mutation would be too expensive to include. Husk, who sheds her skin, was excluded for a similar reason, but was replaced by a character called Buff, who is just a really buff girl. They also added Kurt, who's literally just a knockoff Cyclops. Jubilee, Skin, Monet, and Mondo were included, except for some obvious differences. Jubilee is played by a white actress for some reason, despite being Chinese American in the comics and animated series. Shoulder says in an interview with Sci-Fi Wire, "The script does not mention her Asian ethnicity, nor is it mentioned in the casting breakdown that went out to agents." Zoinks. It's also worth mentioning that Mondo is played by a black actor despite being Samoan in the comics. And Monet is looking a little too light-skinned for my liking. At least Skin is actually a brown Latino. Side note, Shoulder says that he also auditioned Sandra Oh for Emma Frost, which is... There's multiple other changes, but we'll get to that later. So, with all that preface done, let's get into the shit. Keep in mind that this movie is old and is probably ripped from a VHS, which is why it looks like it was filmed on a dishwasher. The movie opens with the definition of mutation, both the scientific definition and the definition of the illegal genetic condition. And this shit starts fucking heavy, like a bunch of doctors are about to lobotomize mutant child with a bunch of industrial-ass surgery equipment heavy.
Give us a nice clean cut, Georgie, or we're going to send you back to beauty school.
A little inside humor helps break the tension.
But Emma Frost jumps in an absolutely atrocious wig to save this boy, but the police come in and just take him away.
Donald Spector, you are in violation of the Mutant Registration Act and are hereby forfeit of all right. Come on.
Typical. ACAB. In reaction to this man who was just about to kill this child, the head doctor just fires him.
That's it? He's through? That's his punishment?
Emma is not pleased. Queen. Painfully 90s. We see Skin, we see some sweet moments with his family.
When you get to this Xavier school, you don't let them treat you like some caguetas freak. Only I can do that.
And then he heads off to Xavier's. His sister holds his hand as the car leaves, and he stretches as he does. The scene is so weird and kind of horrifying. It's shot and edited like a horror sequence. And it's not a horror sequence. It's just totally weird for what X-Men is. Like, it's mutation. It's not like inherently scary. Why are we treating it like an extended gross out scene? Also, why doesn't his sister let him go? He's literally yelling for her to do so, and he's going full bungee cord in a public place. She knows he's a mutant. And then we meet the villain, Russell, which is the most non-intimidating name for a villain. I hate him. He's like a sick knockoff Jim Carrey.
What are they?
Brainwaves, Bobby Bird, nothing you'd understand.
Try me.
No, Bobby boy, not that dream device like I'm some maladjusted computer nerd who makes sound machines so stressed out yuppies can catch some decent alpha waves.
So basically, Russell is working for a company to like implant marketing through subliminal messages into the public's mind, you know, typical evil capitalist shit. Now, Russell is a doctor who got fired earlier in the film, which I didn't realize till halfway through the movie because I was watching perhaps the worst version of it available, fucking like in 240p. We cut to Caucasoid Jubilee and she's playing like some games in this kind of like mix between an arcade and a club. I do enjoy the vibes, to be honest. And Jubilee notices the subliminal messaging in the arcade machine. which is weird because it seems to be suggesting, like, a lot of the movie, like, circulates around the fact that mutants have this latent psychic ability that humans don't have, which is not really something in the comics. You kind of, like, have to have telepathy to be able to do anything beyond, like, basic shielding or communicating with, like, telepathic people, but whatever. Jubilee gets too into the game and starts blowing shit up, you know, as she does. Effects aren't terrible, but the budget is really showing at this point, that's all I'm gonna say. Everyone's staring and she gets caught by security guards. It's very much replication of the first X-Men the Animated Series episode.
You know that girl?
Yeah, her name is Jubilation Lee.
Why didn't you tell us?
What am I supposed to say? Hey, Mom, I think I'm a mutant, but don't worry, I'll study harder.
Don't take that tone with me.
Why does she look so much like Gifted Lorna in this scene? It's literally sick. We see Banshee. Emma and him have this little, like, romantic sexual will they, won't they, back and forth.
Wake up, lover. I'm even better in real life.
I told you what would happen if you ever invaded my mind.
If I invaded your mind, you'd never wake up.
Neither would you.
There's a 15-year-old girl being detained in Linfield.
I'll be ready by the time you're dressed.
Oh, I am dressed.
It's very good. Jubilee's mom and the cop argue about Jubilee's fate.
15 years old. She's never been in trouble before.
Miss Lee, your daughter is an unregistered mutant.
Well, we're going to register her. We just found out about it.
These things don't just happen. They begin when the mutant enters puberty. She was just hiding it.
You can't just send her away without a hearing. What about her rights?
She's a mutant. She doesn't have any civil
She is an American. You can't tell me that she doesn't have rights.
Calm down. Look,
You were
sit
gonna...
down. Sit. Both the Mutant Aggression Act and the Anti-Terrorism Statutes operate outside the dictates of due process. Now, your daughter's public outburst was technically an act of mutant terrorism. Now, she won't be sent away forever, but she has to be reassimilated, and the mutant camp is the best place for that to happen. I'm sorry.
Honestly, this movie does a good job of, like, naturally communicating what kind of world they're living in. Registration acts and concentration camps are already in motion. It's very much like the world in between, like, the Days of Future Past and like the Days of Future Past future. Like, it's like on its way to that kind of dystopia. So Emma and Sean go to save Jubilee from jail. And Emma's outfit is crazy. Like, she is literally wearing plastic. It is so ugly and so disgraceful. However, I do like this Emma. I like her lines, her performance, and all that. She has this good mix of, like, coldness and sassiness.
You are one heck of a soft touch, aren't you, Sean, my boy?
Only with helpless women, which leaves you out your mind, which...
Play macho with me, Sean. I could have you fetching frisbees like a trained pooch.
I don't know. She kind of ate January Jones up.
No, I gotta go.
No you don't, darling. You're coming with us.
Look, I'm sure you guys got some great schemes in mind, which is why you nabbed me, all right? But I'm a bad girl, and I've got some nasty mutant tricks, so just back off.
A bad girl. Jubilee, please.
At the academy, you'll be required to follow a course of training suited to your mutant abilities and interests.
I'm interested in body piercing.
Well, your priorities are shifting, darling. We're training you to be a superhero.
Well, I have to wear one of those, goofy superhero costumes.
The way that this is such an obvious predecessor to...
You actually go outside in these things? What would you prefer? Yellow spandex?
There are just, like, certain bits of this movie that make me feel like there's some kind of, like, creative crossover or just, like, collective thought, like, mind-to-mind communication. So, anyway, cut to Russell being unhinged.
Bobby, baby, no sooner do I jump one hurdle than I jump another one. I fear I shall grow in love with myself. You're not gonna believe this, Bobby.
What are you talking about, Russell?
I honestly don't know how I feel about this performance. It's like Aldi Jim Carrey, like Crispy Oats, Marshmallow Stars, Fruit Rounds Jim Carrey. Russell's basically obsessed with being a dream god or something like that. His employer is kind of like...
For now, let's keep this mutant brain thing to ourselves. The board members are not on your intellectual level, and we don't want to scare them away. Let's do the presentation as planned and keep the money flowing, okay?
Okay.
So they pick up Skin and go to the mansion. This is actually the same mansion that they use in a lot of the X-Men movies. Also, this in particular made me realize how bad Sean's actor's accent is. Like, it's giving Lucky Charms.
Security protocol Z12, mutant orientation. They're in zones 1 through 4A.
Or fuck it, like Marshmallow Stars. So Skin is like fully staring while Jubilee is getting this body imprint thing. Like, why is a body imprint necessary, and why is the scene necessary in the first place? Like, from this point onwards, recurring theme is weirdness towards teens' bodies. So after that weirdness, Jubilee and Skin go to meet their peers, and of course they're mean.
Dork.
Badass, moody kids.
So what's your thing?
What's my thing? They want to know what kind of mutant powers you have.
Oh, I don't know what it's called, but, fireworks shoot out of my fingers.
It's called thermodynamic emission.
Living for Monet. Emma's corset is finally seated. Fuck, it's so ugly. Like, what is it with the XMCU and putting Emma in ugly shit? Like, are you dumb? She's Emma Frost. So they're playing football and Mondo gets Skin's hand stuck on him. And again, it's so horrifying.
Oh man!
They keep doing this with Skin, and honestly, I don't like it. Like, why is it framed so scarily? Like, what does the director have against Skin specifically? Like, it would be so easy to make this scene like something like lighthearted or funny, at the very least like neutral. It's hard to be brown and conditionally human passing. Even the director hates you. This is around the point where you realize how gloomy the movie is. Like, the tone, the color grading, the plot. It's all very dark and somber, like meanders in this kind of gray, joyless narrative space. It doesn't have that energetic, like, quirkiness of the comic run. One thing to note about Arlie is that she wears big baggy clothing because she's just so buff and she's super ashamed of that.
She never lets anybody see her change.
Why not?
Because her body's so horrible. Her musculature is completely out of control. She can run about 60 miles an hour and she's stronger than Mondo, but her body's totally freak dimension.
Emma teaches them about psionic abilities. It's actually pretty interesting.
I want you all to monitor your dreams.
What are we supposed to get from that?
Ultimately, you will see that dreams are the threads of pure consciousness that connect us all.
This biscuit is mental.
Of course I'm mental, Kurt. That's what I've been trying to tell you.
Sorry, Miss Frost.
That's all right, Kurt. The ignorant are always skeptical when they're given knowledge.
Oh! One thing out of many things that I lament about the death of the XMCU was that it seemed like they were getting ready to explore some things to do with the astral plane, like an X-Men Apocalypse. I hope that kind of continues in whatever the fuck they're going to do with the MCU. Skin does the classic marginalized kid thing of not raising his hand when he knows the answer.
A word to the wise.
Excellent. Now, tonight's assignment.
Later, he's learning about the security system, fails the practice exam, and it's unnecessarily horrifying.
I need some help out here, come on!
3 fatalities. Arlene Hicks, Sean Cassidy, Kurt Astorius.
Guys, I need some help in here, guys!
Simulation complete.
Again, this movie is weirdly somber for something that's supposed to be about quirky mutant teens. Not in a New Mutants way, like mixing horror and teen life. Like, this is just like drab. So Jeeves is setting up on astral travel and wants to go see her parents.
I just want to go into my parents' dreams and see why they sent me to this place.
How come you just didn't talk to your mom? She called you.
Because I didn't want to hear her make all these excuses, you know?
Jeeves is talking about excuses? Girl, the police are gonna send you to a concentration camp.
Remember, Russell, no voodoo theatrics at this presentation.
Don't belittle what I do. I can't help being creative any more than you can help being a greedy capitalist. I'm a classic. Low self-esteem, dysfunctional, overcompensating with grandiose delusions. In other words, I won't be happy until the psycho slut who humiliated me grovels at my feet and anoints me as her god.
Russell is insane.
A woman, Russell?
The way that he said it made it sound like he thought that he was gay or something, which is like... I mean, they get to go into town. I love these kinds of scenes and mutant kids bonding. Fuck X-Men Apocalypse for taking out that scene.
Has anyone ever told you you look like this?
Yeah. No, thanks, Scott.
Oh, come on.
You're an asshole. Thank you so much.
Buff, takes off her clothes, and it's obviously like this grown woman body underneath, which is like...
Okay. No way, man. Ollie's a heifer.
Oh, dude, she's so not. I mean, she's a babe.
A babe?
Yeah.
Big bad Buffalo is a babe? Man, she scared the pimples off a football player's butt.
You are so brain dead, man. When I pulled her off you in football practice, she was solid.
You snuck a feel when you pulled her off me?
Well, maybe a quick one, you know.
Gross. Mondo's kind of like looking and like flirting with this girl and then gets bullied by her friend, which looks like a possessed Zac Efron. Later, Mondo discovers a section of the security system that he can't access, and then he hacks it. He goes to check it out like dumb, bored kids do, and he finds a machine that he and Jubilee saw in the book, as well as the machine in the beginning of the movie where the child was being lobotomized on. Anyway, cut to Russell, like, presenting to the capitalists about his little plan.
We used an aggressive marketing tactic, employing strong subliminal suggestions. As you can see, the figures speak for themselves. Number one in all 3 markets. When I was with the government, we discovered that dreams are another dimension. A device was created that allowed us to access the dream world, the world we all share when we go to sleep. The dream dimension. I've duplicated this device. And I've been conducting experiments by going into people's dreams and making small suggestions directly into their unconscious minds.
Exactly is your point, Mr. Tresh.
My point is that I can go into people's dreams and get them to buy any product I tell them to. They are powerless to stop it because these impulses come from their subconscious.
Seems anti-black.
Did you just try to control my body with your white hand?
I took the liberty of visiting each of you in your dreams last night. Mr. Donbury, you should buy the cocktail dress. You've got the figure. At exactly 10 o'clock, each member of this board will have an involuntary gastric eruption.
Not a gastric eruption. It's so funny. Humor. It's little Blakeney jumping in, I bet. The students are studying in this budget-ass danger room when Skin tells Jubilee about what he found.
I found it.
Found what?
A dream machine. It's in a secure chamber near the command center. I found it when I was going through the system.
So?
So tonight we're going on a vacation. Meet me there after lights out.
I'd rather hit the street with a tin cup than make money the way Mr. Tresh is proposing.
He could bring down this entire corporation. The man's insane.
And dangerous.
I say we call the authorities.
He's your loose cannon, Bob. What do you say?
He's gone off the deep end. I'll take care of it, John.
Apparently, capitalists have some kind of conscience.
A2 bulbous.
Oh, no way. Actually, he's dreaming. Silly of me to think that. Bob's sleepwalking, and Russell makes him kill himself by jumping out a window, which I'm not gonna lie. Looks pretty cool.
That's right.
Jubes uses the dream machine, which is, unhinged. It's an unhinged thing to do. I'm now realizing, like, looking at this machine, this is very similar to what Jason Stryker had going on next to, as well as the whole dream state suggestion thing. Tubes and Russell's meet in the dream dimension.
Dad? It's okay.
Wow. Talk about your hallmark moment. Tell me more about yourself, Jubilee. Where you been hiding?
How do you know my name?
Honey, relax. I'm a mutant talent scout. We'll do lunch, babe. Who knows? We might even eat it.
No, like, we might even eat makes me laugh, but he ruins it by being a creep, which is going to be a running theme with Russell's character.
What do you want from me?
It's not what you think, honey.
I love you for your mind.
So Skin uses the machine despite Jubilee literally waking up screaming. No, like he is literally creeping on this girl.
That is an awesome female.
Gross.
Nice to meet you, Angelo. So, you got designs on that sweet little cantaloupe, huh? Well, your luck. Because old Russ is your guardian dream angel.
So what can you do?
What can I do? I can make that girl pat of butter in your hot little hand.
Russell's planting love into this girl's mind, and Skin is like fine with it. I mean, he's a teenager, but like, bro.
Tell me a little something about yourself, Angelo. You don't seem like the usual dream web riffraff. Your skin tone seems rather muted, shall we say. I'd say you have a certain je ne sais quoi.
A certain je ne sais quoi? I'm sick. I'm gonna use that. So the police get Russell. No idea how they put that together. And they cut the cord, so he's stuck outside his fucking body. Honestly, deserved.
What's wrong with him?
I don't know. I think he's asleep.
Knockoff Scott and Knockoff Husk are flirting. And, I don't care. Arlie's giving me like huge transmasculine youth tease with like this whole I'm gonna wear huge clothing so nobody sees my body. I see you. So they're all going to this like fair carnival thing. Again, I always enjoy seeing mutants getting outside world enrichment, so I do like this. When he shows up some boys like a queen, The knockoffs like have some cute moments. Skin sees his girl and they reconcile. There's some like drama with the knockoffs that I'm honestly not going to even extrapolate on because y'all.
This guy bothering you?
No. Why don't you leave us alone, that's okay?
Hey, whoa, whoa, whoa. Where you from, Pancho?
Xavier.
Oh, juvie school. Come on, Kayla, you're gonna get a rep hanging around with this. Loser. Okay, it's not a juvie school. It's for special kids. It's for retards.
I hate this. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. So anyway, Zac Efron gets wasted.
Oh, I'm really ready to transfer some hostility, man.
Okay, Pancho.
What seems to be the problem, Muffin Man? Oh, look. More special kids from juvie school. Welcome to Hastings, butt breath.
Picks up the kids from the police. She's pissed. And then they get expelled.
Before the fight, I grabbed a stone and absorbed it.
I respect your honesty, and I'll tell that to your parents. You're expelled.
This is all my fault. I got in trouble with some of the town kids. They just came to help me out. If he's expelled, I should be too.
All right, then you're expelled also.
Guilty as charged.
Me too.
Why don't you all pack?
Expelled? For that? Didn't Pyro like literally almost like light a child on fire in like a packed mall and all he got was like a fucking slap on the wrist?
And the next time you feel like showing off, don't.
Come on, Emma. Just let the children beat up humans. It's reparations.
Children, would you mind stepping outside for a minute while Emma and I discuss your punishments?
How dare you undermine me in front of the students?
We're supposed to consult each other.
Look, the rules of this establishment are quite clear on these infractions.
We can't have a school without students.
And you can't have any discipline unless you demand it.
Em, you're a fine teacher and a hard taskmaster. But these children got a tough road to hoe, and a little compassion on our parts won't kill them.
Yes, it will. I've seen it before, Sean.
You can't keep blaming yourself for the loss of the Hellions.
I don't know why they made this reference to the Hellions, like that's something that like anybody with a marginal interest in X-Men knows about. They're literally like a D-tier group, and honestly that might even be pushing it, like at least in that time period. Skin goes to see his girl, Michaela, that's her name, I never mentioned it. He goes to see her in a dream. This scene is so weird. Like, it's just weird. It reminds me of that scene in Batman and Robin with Poison Ivy. Like, even the music and the lighting is just like similar.
To the gem of the evening!
Our own Commissioner Gordon displaying the famed heart of Isis on loan from the collection of my close personal friend, Bruce Wayne.
So when Skin really goes to sleep, Russell comes and visits him and is like, put me back on my body. And Angela's like, I'm not sure about that.
Can you do me a favor?
I don't know. What is it?
Well, since you know how to use the machine, I was wondering if you could hook me back up with my body.
And then he realizes that Russell's a bad person.
What are you talking about minimum security? This a hospital or a jail?
Well, Pee-wee, it's kind of both. So you'll do it?
I'm not breaking into jail.
And so then Russell begins to threaten him. He threatens to terrorize him, Michaela, and mind rape his little sister. Yes, he said mind rape.
How would I mind rape this sweet little sister of yours?
Please.
It's fucking weird and disgusting. And he fucking licks her. Like, this is, like, extreme. Like, it's, like, so explicitly made clear that this, like, man is, like, a pedophile of some sort. It's just, like, wholly unnecessary to, like, add these sexual connotations. This TV movie about teens. So, Skin decides to help the weird man instead of telling his telepathic teacher about what's happening. It puts him back in his body, but shock! Russell captures Skin for his brain so that he can carry out that lobotomy thing he was doing in the beginning of the movie.
Angelo, old homie of mine, I gotta ask you for just one more little thing.
What the hell you want from me now, man?
Your brain.
Skin manages to send a message to Jubilee through mutant telepathy.
He's gonna operate on my brain at dawn. She'll know what to do.
Skin?
Apparently, Russell's motive is to make himself a mutant, but apparently being in a dream space for so long can make him a mutant already, possibly. Don't ask me, it makes absolutely no sense. Emma opens a doorway for them to go save Skin. Like, they're supposed to, like, go through an astral doorway or something. Again, it does not make sense because it's X-Men. Keep in mind, we haven't seen these children do any meaningful combat training except for them, like, playing in that McDonald's play place of a danger room earlier. It's just odd to me that Emma, who lost her previous students, would just, like, send these untrained children to such a dangerous situation. But hey, what is X-Men without endangering teenagers? So, he's fully about to murder this child. But then the children start wasting him, so... Again, the lighting in this movie is insane. It's so colorful, but also so, like, nauseating at the same time. Like, there's just something wrong with it.
Well, you're pretty good at beating up children.
Well, thank you so much. I'm really just a beginner, but I know I can improve.
Right.
I like this Banshee yell. It's a lot better than the animated series one.
It's Charles!
I have the distinct feeling I've already mutated and you're just not sharing.
Emma! Are you out there?
Shut your gob kimono, boy, and bring it on!
Guys, I'm feeling seriously omnipotent!
I like that transition. Very creative.
I don't intend to win. I'm gonna take you with me.
Just you and me falling forever through the abyss. I don't think I'm ready, but...
They spent all their budget on this shit, like, for real. He thinks he can sacrifice himself, but nah, he's good. They're playing some kind of X-Men card game. It's probably some tie-in for some kind of, like, toy line that never came to fruition. Husk gets her uniform. I mean, Buff gets her uniform. And she's confident now, for some reason. And it just ends on Russell being in the hospital forever. It's so wild, but honestly, is this man like a grown-up Jason Stryker? Like, it's giving very much that. They even look the same. Anyway, that was Generation X. Closing thoughts. It's not that good, but it's not that bad. It has a 4.5 out of 10 on IMDb, which I think might be a little bit generous, honestly. Apparently audiences at the time kind of liked it, which is good for them. It's a super interesting foray into adapting X-Men, but I think it missed the mark in multiple ways. First of all, the tone is so dark and drab, and it's not as much scary or terrifying as it is just boring. It's also not visually interesting, and the teen performances are passable at best, which is not really great for a movie centered on teens, and they definitely hired the wrong director for this. And the immature to distasteful jokes centered around the sexualization of young girls is just awful, and definitely speaks to the writer's tastes. The lack of synergy in the creation of the movie and the lack of personal investment in the movie is definitely clear in the final product. It doesn't feel like it was made by somebody who intimately understands X-Men. Especially when you're making X-Men offshoots, you need to intimately understand X-Men. Because these offshoots are often subversions of the original narrative, and you need to understand what you're subverting. It's also interesting that bits of this movie are comparable to bits of the future movies. Shoulder says this in an interview with Sci-Fi, "I knew the Marvel comic book guys because they were around on set. They had plans to try to do more movies, and this was kind of their trial run, and they seemed pretty pleased. They were having a good time." It's definitely possible that people who were invested in the creation of the X-Men 2000 movies took some inspiration from this production. X-Men 2000 began pre-production in 1994 to 1996, and the script was finalized in 1998 and 1999. But it's also possible that these similarities are just coincidences or just indicative of the fact that they are adapted from similar sources. But like, despite all of its issues, I wish more people knew about this weird movie, and I'm interested to see how it shapes up to New Mutants, if we ever get to see it. And it's nice to know that X-Men has an entry into this pantheon of pre-cinematic bad superhero movies. Thanks y'all for watching. If you liked this video, like this video. If you really liked it, subscribe. I have more X-Men stuff in the work, and am brainstorming some other Fiction-kin videos. I'm a jack of several trades, folks. If you want to follow me on social media, my Twitter and illustration Instagram is Bike Nesmith, and my video, photo, makeup creating Instagram is Lenshard. All of those things are linked in the description to make it easier for y'all. All of those things are linked in the description, so make sure to check there. That's it. Comment below what you think of this movie, what you think of the XMCU, what you think of these kinds of, you know, throw things at the wall, see what happens superhero movies, like from the old 70s Captain America movies to movies like the old Daredevil. I'll see you again sooner than over a year.